Going the distance for local sports. This is X Sports Today.
A local law firm respected throughout the state. Generations of clients have turned to Boston, Holt, and Durham since 1948. We assist individuals and businesses with their legal needs, including real estate, property closings, personal injury, employment discrimination, and family law. Our clients get the personal attention and convenience of a hometown law firm with the resources and ability to handle any case. Come see us at Boston, Holt, and Durham.
For the best meal from south of the border, head to Cocina Real in Puente Grande for lunch and dinner. With a wide array of mouth-watering entrees, there's something for everyone on the menu. And you can't forget the cheese dip. They'll treat you like family, and you'll never leave hungry. Make Cocina Real Mexican Restaurant and Puente Grande Mexican Restaurant your choice for authentic cuisine, located in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee.
For decades, First Class Charter has provided high-quality motor coach transportation services to the Tennessee Valley. With numerous safety and cleanliness accreditations, First Class Charter is ready to make your group trip a reality. Contact us today by visiting firstclasscharter.net. First Class Charter, the official motor coach company of the North Alabama Lions.
There's no job too big or too small for Gonzalez Lawn and Landscapes. Owner Chris Gonzalez works hard to make your commercial or residential properties one of the neighbors will envy. You won't find a lower price anywhere else, and that's a guarantee. We offer mowing, landscape removal, small construction jobs, and more. Our team is licensed and insured to ensure the best work for Lawrence County and surrounding areas. Your satisfaction is our goal. We won't leave until you're happy. Call today to set up a free quote.
The Summit of Lawrenceburg is the premier senior and assisted living community in the region. The Summit makes it home for you or your loved one with diverse suites that welcome and encourage community, plus gathering spaces, neighborhoods, daily activities, and a wonderful staff that supports you every day.
Hi, I'm Tara Blue. I'm the new director of the Summit, and we would like to invite you and your family to come and tour our facility. We would love to see you here.
Shop McMaster's Home Gallery for furniture, appliances, and more. And shop quality, shop convenience, shop service, shop local. A family-owned business with a long history of serving the region. We're a one-stop home furnishings destination. We feature brands you know, competitively priced, backed by professional installation and service. You can trust that we'll take good care of you before and after the sale. For your home, shop smart. Shop McMaster's Home Gallery today.
Juarez Tile Pros and Remodeling can help you with all your home remodeling and construction needs. They specialize in custom walk-in showers and floors, and no job is too big for their expert team. Licensed and insured, call Juarez Tile Pros and Remodeling today, located in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee.
Going the distance for local sports. This is X Sports Today.
Welcome back to X Sports Today. AJ Good, joined by Taylor Plott, Michael Marks, Hayden Burks. Guys, a rainy, somewhat Wednesday afternoon. Glad I mowed the grass when I did. It didn't rain on me while I was mowing the grass.
What type of mowing is that, AJ?
I was moaning while mowing the grass. It's pretty hot.
So hot, yeah.
So hot, yeah.
Oh, gosh, we got to go mow the grass.
What a way to start.
Whew, we're off to a hot start on that one. It was so hot yesterday.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to mow it since I've been on vacation. I was so afraid, like one of the guys, Spencer from SB Mowing, I knocked it on the door. Hi, it looks like your grass is getting a little high. I just come around, I see bad-looking yards, and I just clean them up for free for the neighborhood. So
that makes you feel good.
I had to get out there and get it done. But we do got some news, guys. NBA-wise, the Thunder going to keep Chet Holmgren here for a while. NBA champion has agreed to a fully guaranteed 5-year max rookie contract extension. Could reach up to $250 million, according to his agent Bill Duffy telling ESPN on Wednesday morning. So not much to say beyond that. That OKC looks like going to be keeping their core. And let's see, they have SGA $285 million through 2030-31. So looks like Holmgren's going to be staying with him during that time.
Yeah, and you kind of expected that they really wanted to keep him. I mean, he's still growing as a player. I think this is what year
3 or 4 coming up. Yeah.
And so he's still gaining that ability that he has, and that's a really good piece. Not only can he be really good down low, but if I remember correctly, I mean, he can kind of get a little away from the basket, have a decent shot, so he can hurt you, a little bit mid-range, but also down below. And also having him with SGA, I think that's exactly what they need to have long term.
Yeah, and they are knocking on the door of that second apron where they're starting to get some heavy penalties put in. So right now their payroll for next year is $172 million. That second apron kicks in at $207. So not a whole lot of money left over, as there's and again, you want that core just win you a championship. They deserve to get paid, and they should, but how much more really can they afford to start paying these guys?
Take advantage of the window while you can, while you get these guys on rookie max extension.
And it feels like that's the era we're in today. Back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and even in the 2000s, man, if you drafted 3 or 4 good guys, they were your core and they were staying. You didn't have to worry about them leaving to go take a super big deal. But that's kind of the era we're in now. You get as much money as you can while you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at Chet. Had a good finals run, had a good playoff run, had some struggles here and there, especially in that Nuggets matchup there in the semifinal in the West, him having to go up against Nikola Jokic. But you look at the team overall, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, $285 for 5 years. Chet Holmgren up to $250. I think that's a good deal for him because, I mean, I'm not saying he's overpriced, but then again, you want to get as much value as you can out of him at a price that's decent enough. So I think that's a decent price for him. So like you said, Michael, trying to take advantage of it. When you can, you're going to have to look at the overall team based off that. Okay, somebody's going to have to go out the door. Jalen Williams, he's still going to be, I think he just got his extension too. Can't remember the exact number off the top of my head. But I know he's in there long term for him now. Lou Dort, I would say, probably is the odd man out for them. Caruso possibly. And then maybe Carson Wallace from Kentucky. I think they might ship him out the door. So those 3 guys, I would say, Williams, Holmgren, and Alexander will probably be the 3 guys that they'd be wanting to keep, and then they probably rotate the other guys in and out.
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely you've got that core, those 3 players that that that's exactly what you want, and then, build around it. I mean, you make a good point, if they get to the point where you have to dish somebody away, who could it be? And I mean, it could be Dort or Caruso. I don't know which one you would want to value more. I mean, both can hit the outside 3 very well. But, as long as you have those core 3, I think they're set pretty well right now.
Yeah, and I think OKC is going to do everything they can to keep those 3 together because, not so long ago, OKC had a really talented trio that made it to the finals, and after that run, it was all over, and I don't think Sam Presti wants to see that happen again. So those 3, I would imagine they're going to do everything they can to keep those 3 together and keep that core.
Of course, you look till you got those first-round picks as well.
Yep.
Can you imagine if they had kept that initial 3 that they had years ago?
Would they have even turned into what they turned into? But, I mean, you had, I think it was 3 straight MVPs because you had, not consecutive, but they all won an MVP.
Yeah.
I think Westbrook went, 3 years in a row averaging a triple-double. Yeah. I mean, James Harden was scoring I think he had like a month where he didn't score under 40 points a game. He
was like on a completely ungodly level.
Mm-hmm. It was like averaging 45 points a game in the month of like March.
Yeah.
And I think this course is different than that court was. I think that court was more selfish.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was trying to find a better way to say it, but
that's
what
it.
That's there was too many egos.
Yeah, too many egos in this group. Just they don't have that many egos, and plus you got a front office that understands get them while you can, so you can keep them together, stay under that second apron. Back then they just didn't have the foresight of that, and plus a lot of egos in these guys. It's just a different group of players now.
That and the head coach Billy Donovan back then, who's now at Chicago, he's not very good at handling players in my opinion, compared to the new guy that they've got now, who's came up with these guys as well. I mean, he was coaching G leagues and the summer league teams, and now he's the reigning head coach of the year, the champion.
There's a thing that I feel like if you look back on the NBA as kind of like a whole, leading up to maybe a couple years ago, it almost felt like you didn't really have a team that had a very valued player coach, or like a coach that really connected with the players really liked them. But on top of that, you had a roster that didn't have the big egos. You usually had rosters that didn't really mesh with those two. Now you look, Indiana, for instance, OKC, it just seems like you're having a lot more of this. You have a coach that is a player type of coach. They really like playing for them, and the players themselves. So you have a good group that doesn't have all those egos, that they play well together. They want to play with each other. And here you go with those teams that might not have a huge superstar. Obviously, SGA is, I think, one right now, and definitely going to grow into even more of one. But I don't know if you know what I mean. It seems like there's a couple more teams now that have a core that is really good. Not a lot of egos, and the coaches are really good with the players.
And I think that's what's made OKC so special during this time. I get they didn't draft Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He was drafted by the Clippers, but they know what kind of players they're looking for, because when SGA got traded, was not the biggest star in the world. Chet was kind of playing second fiddle when he got drafted out of Gonzaga, and Jalen Williams kind of came out of nowhere. Yep. But they're finding these players that work well together, that don't have that too many Chiefs and not enough followers mentality, and it's worked out for them. And we saw that with both teams in the finals. I used to think that an NBA head coach was probably the most pointless job ever, because it was just but you had two well-coached teams with players that liked playing the game the right way, and that made for an excellent NBA Finals.
It shows that type of style can still work in the NBA.
Well, I mean, you look at also, like you were saying, Michael, finding a bunch of guys, but you got to look at the trades they made with the Clippers and Houston. Look at all the first-round picks they've stacked. I mean, they've still got, 12 first-round picks in the next 10 drafts, something like that.
Something crazy like that.
I mean, they built for the future in those trades. I mean, you look at the Paul George trade, they got 4 or 5 first-round picks. You look at the Westbrook trade, got 3 or 4 first-round picks. I mean, just down the line, they made smart moves. Sam Presti, he's probably, will go down for the best executive of this decade for the NBA, in my opinion.
And it's good to see that we're going back to a version of the NBA where guys aren't just wanting to jettison all over the place. We saw it yesterday with Baccaro, and you see this with Chet. We've seen it already. This was like, oh man, this is a big free agent year. Who knows where they're going to go? And right now, they're just staying.
They're just staying where they want to be. Yeah.
And so you build it the way, and that's what made the NBA exciting when I was growing up. When you guys were starting to grow up, before everyone needs a big three, or everyone's ring culture. But it turns out the best ring culture you can have is staying where you are.
Yeah,
it's just a different phase.
And I like this phase. Some more news coming out of yesterday: the Denver Nuggets and their superstar Nikola Jokic saying right now that they will not seek a contract extension this summer. They're going to wait till next summer. Jokic has 3 years remaining on a 5-year, $276 million contract extension. They signed in the summer of 2022. Three-time MVP as a player option. The final year of his deal worth $62.8 million. He's eligible to sign a 3-year, $200 million extension up until August 20th, according to ESPN's Bobby Marks. The first year of the extension would have replaced his player options. So I guess he's just in wait and see mode. See what the
He's waiting and seeing. I think
do.
he's looking to get that MVP and get that big money. That's what I'm really thinking.
That's what I kind of think too. I think that he wants to prove that he can even have a better year next year, have that MVP season, show that, hey, I can be worth more than you probably would have given me right now. I think that's a smart move. Yeah. I think he does want to stay in Denver. I don't think this is one of those things where he's like, I don't want to sign anything right now.
Because he's such a homebody. I'm not saying, I mean, Denver does have a good nightlife from what I've heard. I've never experienced it, but he
doesn't seem like the guy that wants to move around a lot.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like that guy that wants to be in Miami or LA or
You want a championship? I want to go play with my horses.
This also need to ask Dusty about that tonight, about what he thinks about his horses and getting that extension.
And this kind of feels like, we've seen the Nuggets make a couple of moves here in the offseason, that switch between Michael Porter Jr. and Cam Johnson. I think he wants to see how the team's going to play this year before he wants to, sign a 6 or 7 year, however many $1 million deal to stay put in Denver, because if it's not working out and he's not going to be able to contend for championships, which also means contend for MVP, awards, he might look elsewhere, but again, this feels like just kind of a wait and see as much money he can get,
especially with a new head coach too. But like y'all's, I don't ever see him leaving Denver.
I don't think he wants to leave, but if the coaching's not working out and the moves that move out, he would. I
don't see it anytime soon.
I wouldn't put it past him to look elsewhere.
Yeah,
he might, and that could honestly be a part of his thought process. Is yes, I don't want to go, but I'm going to leave that door open for another year in case some things happen and they're like, maybe I do need to. But I do think at the end of the day, the main thing is I know I'm going to have a better season next year, and I can probably get a little bit extra.
Because he's going for his 4th MVP if he has another MVP season like he has been.
Because there's a couple teams where if you just plug Jokic in right there, I think he's an MVP guy, no doubt. Like, throw him in there with Ja and the Grizzlies.
Yeah. Put him with Detroit. That would be deadly.
Something that needs a big man that's just a big man away from contending. It could be interesting. Indiana. Who, I mean, obviously it's not likely, but who knows?
Yeah. Well, moving ahead in the Major League Baseball, guys, some big news coming up for next week's All-Star Game. The automated ball strike system is coming to the All-Star Game next week in Atlanta. MLB officials added the feature in the annual exhibition game, knowing it could be a precursor to becoming a permanent part of Major Leagues as soon as next year. Same process that was used in past spring training will be used in the Midsummer Classic, also in AAA, which I just saw a couple weeks ago. Each team will be given 2 challenges with the ability to retain if successful. Only a pitcher, catcher, or hitter can ask for a challenge, and it has to happen almost immediately to happen on top of the helmet, so they will be bringing that to the All-Star Game. Officials say that 72% of fans who were polled during spring training say the impact of the ABS on their experience of the game was a positive one. 69% say they like to be a part of the game moving forward. Just 10% expressed negativity towards it. The MLB's competition committee will meet later this summer to determine if ABS will be instituted next season after the league tested the robotic system throughout the minor leagues and spring training.
So correct me if I'm wrong, I'm trying to remember how all this works. Is this the system that the umpire will have like a little buzzer or something on it that helps to let them know whether that was a strike or not? Or
it's got like some sensor on the ball or something kind of like that.
Tennis. Yeah, I've seen it. And I was just at a Nashville Sounds game. They're using it in AAA. So the guy taps his helmet, or the catcher or the pitcher, and again, it happens immediately. Home plate umpire goes, they're challenging the call within like 5 seconds. You see up on the video board, and it looks exactly like tennis.
Yeah.
You'll watch the ball, and they'll have the square. And the Iowa Cubs, Shota Umaga, got a strike on the top end of the zone that barely clipped the top end by half much.
And it was in.
But it was in. So it literally like takes them 20 seconds to finish it. So
well, that's the thing.
So this isn't the umpires knowing whether it's a ball or strike from like something telling him. They have to go.
No,
they're watching the video board just like everybody else. They call it a ball, go back. They call it a strike.
Okay. So they're still calling it the way they've always called it.
Right.
It's just you can challenge it now.
And once the challenge happens, they look at the video board.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's pretty like you're done within 20 to 25 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's not extending the game.
And I think that's why I think we'll see this in the major leagues. I'm not sure if it'll be this upcoming season or not. But again, it's not like you're adding a 5-minute review to the game or something. Exactly. It's just a quick glance. And they've again worked it in spring training, or worked it in AAA, and now in the All-Star game. I think we're just trying to see how this will work with the big league guys, and I hope it is something we see soon, because there are some games that maybe the outcome will be different, because baseball is a game where one pitch can really change everything, and the ball and a strike. I mean, the one that comes to my mind, it was the Dodgers and the Braves in the playoffs. I believe it was 2019, and it was that first year that Acuna was up, and Walker Buehler 3-0 fastball,
That was
high,
up top of the zone.
strike, threw it again, 4-0 Braves. So,
I love that though.
Yeah, I would say,
don't change history. Yeah,
and that's the thing. That changes it from a grand slam to just walking in a run. So it can have positive and negative impacts on a lot of things. But it's a thing that I think we need to see in Major League Baseball, because umpires are continuously, especially now with the age of the internet, getting criticized more than ever, and I think this will.
Now the players can challenge it, and if the umpire's right, then you just move on. If the player's right, then you just move on.
It's
actually pretty.
And I think it'll.
Smooth
I think
because the video board won't lie.
Well, and I think it's going to have a big impact on players getting thrown out, because we see, and even with this thing, there was a guy that was just called up for AAA. I believe he was on the White Sox, and there was a pitch that missed, and he instinctively tapped his helmet, and the umpire took that as him arguing balls and strikes, and he got thrown out. So, and we're not going to have people arguing as much. I mean, I think it's one of those things, kind of like the NHL, CBA. I think it benefits everybody.
The thing that and this is an old baseball aspect of me, is at some point I don't want to remove the human element of the umpire, because I do, from not only a playing standpoint of me playing the game, but also from a fan standpoint, I like how umpires have some uniqueness to their strike zone. Now, yes, I do agree that if it is in the legit strike zone, you need to call it a strike. I get that. But at the same time, I understand how you might have like a little bit wider of a zone, not too wide, maybe a little bit pitcher friendly, give them like a edge or something, because from a hitter standpoint, obviously, if it's too far off the plate, you're calling it, you're going to have an issue. But if you call it consistently, if you're giving him an inch or two off the plate, batters will be like, okay, that's fine if you're calling it consistent. I like that kind of uniqueness to the game too.
Oh, and that's the thing; it's going to require adjustment from umpires. Usually, when stuff, the players have to adjust almost every night, depending on who's behind home plate. It's going to force the umpires to adjust and be like, hey, I usually give you a couple inches outside. That's not a strike, though.
Now you're looking at real time feedback. If a pitch is called 6 inches off the plate, and now that umpire watches that thing,
and you're like, oh.
And see, that's the thing, is like you train them to not call those. If you give them a little bit, that's fine. Especially the thing I love from just the baseball uniqueness is if you have a pitcher that is just locating, and he is just right there with the zone, and you give him just a little bit and like that, because he's just doing so well. I like that aspect of the game, but like I said, don't make it to where it's just outrageous.
And it could be something that benefits some of those location style pitchers. I get we don't see like a Greg Maddux type of guy every day now, but maybe look at Kyle Hendricks 5 years ago, a guy for the Cubs that wasn't a big velo guy but could dot all night. I mean, that could be something that benefits him a little more. Not seeing 101 come right down the middle every night.
Right.
Also, in Major League Baseball, some history made last night. Patrick Bailey, 2-1 down 3-1 for the Giants, hits one off the top of Triple's alley. I mean, it looked like it's a no doubter in every other ball.
It's like 415 out there.
Ricochets towards center. He gets an inside the park walk-off 3-run homer. It's the first walk-off home run, inside the park home run
in 9 years.
Since 2016, and that was done by Tyler Naquin for Cleveland against Toronto. Only the third time a catcher has done it, and the first time a catcher has done it since 1926.
Wow.
And if you watch the video, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like
that hit the perfect spot on the wall, too.
Yeah, crowd is going nuts. It's a lot of fun. So here are the other two guys that did it. Were the Cubs' Pat Moran in 1907 and Washington's Benny Tate in 1926, the only catchers in Major League Baseball history to hit a walk-off inside the park home run.
Man, I thought we were going to get some fun names when you talk about like the 1902, like some dude like, I don't know, Freight Train Johnson or something like that.
Benny Tate's a good one.
I
do like Benny Tate, but we had some fun last night. A little bit of history, and I do like the Giant City.
Well, we had a couple immaculate innings last night. Josh Hader for the Astros had one to close out a game, and then can't remember the other guy, but he had one in like the third inning last night.
Well,
So
think of this. Going with the inside the park home run, obviously this is going to kill me to say this because the Braves got utterly obliterated last night. But the same day, you had a inside the park home run for the first run of a ball game with the A's versus the Braves.
Yeah, with Denzel Clark.
And then you had one that ended a game later that evening.
How about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, coming up next, we're going to be talking a little bit of college football here. Some more people from the Big 12 Media Day saying some interesting things. We'll have that when we return.
Pat's Cafe and Catering has been proudly serving customers in Lawrenceburg since 1987. For 4 generations, our family-run cafe has served up delicious breakfast and lunch favorites, with friendly service and a welcoming atmosphere. We also offer full-service catering and can help to make your next party or event a success. For great food and friendly faces, visit us today at Pat's Cafe and Catering.
Want to take the next steps in taking care of your health? Tennessee Valley Allergy Services can make your goals a reality. Their team of doctors, nurses, and medical professionals are dedicated to providing allergy care and treatment, such as drops and shots, to fit your exact needs. Their expert services are for anyone ages 2 and older. Whether you struggle with environmental or food allergies, they've got you covered. Discover a better you at Tennessee Valley Allergy Services, located right next to the Zaxby's in Lawrenceburg. Book online or call 931-325-0757 to schedule your appointment today.
What really matters during the ball game, we're at that point in the season where some are just beginning, some have already ended, and others are at that point where it's either win or go home. Depending on what your perspective is, it changes everything, doesn't it? In 2 Corinthians 4 and verse 18, we're reminded we don't look at the things that are seen, but at the things that are unseen. For the things that are seen are temporary, but the things that are unseen are eternal. Keep your focus, keep your perspective on the right things, the things of God, the eternal things. And that message brought to you by your friends at the Leoma Church of Christ.
Jack Davis Insurance, located at 201 West Gain Street in Lawrenceburg, has you covered through life's obstacles. Jack Davis specializes in group insurance for businesses and institutions of all sizes. With coverage for life, accidents, cancer, critical illness, short-term disability, dental, and vision, Jack Davis can customize a plan to meet every need. Now available Medicare plans for seniors. Contact Paige Davis at 931-492-9284 today for Medicare Supplement, Medicare Advantage, and prescription drug plan insurance. Serving Lawrence and surrounding counties since 1987, call the team at Jack Davis Insurance today at 931-242-5225.
Arctic Air keeps your home or business comfortable. For more than 20 years, we provided outstanding residential and commercial services through southern Middle Tennessee. Whether you need assistance with your heat, air conditioning, preventive maintenance, or anything in between, trust our reliable team to get the job done. We'll take the time to figure out your specific needs and recommend what we believe is right and best for your situation.
We've been using Arctic Air for over 15 years now. Their service is great, they're here when we need them, and their prices are competitive. They take the worry out of the heat and air so I don't have to.
Arctic Air. When you need us, we'll be there.
Going the distance for local sports. This is X Sports Today.
And welcome back to X Sports Today. Hayden had his finger up underneath the computer. I thought he pointed before he did, but I'm AJ Good, Taylor Plott, Michael Marks, Hayden Burks, guys, talking a little bit of college football. Big 12 in the middle of their media days. Their commissioner made some headlines a couple days ago, and now one of their coaches is saying something about recruiting. This is from Arizona State's Kenny Dillingham. His team won the Big 12 a year ago. Probably should have won a playoff game if we're being serious. So this is what he had to say about recruiting. To me, recruiting is dead. Retention is alive. It's not about recruiting. I don't care if we're ranked dead last in recruiting my entire career here. Who knows? It'd be like if the draft was for 1 year, then half of your draft picks leave. It's all about retention right now. That's my entire thing.
Like you said,
he's not wrong. I mean, we see a day and age now where 5 stars are getting pulled away from teams every day. I mean, we saw Nico over the last offseason transfer to UCLA. Kind of a shocking one 2 years ago. Caleb Downs transferring from Alabama, going to Ohio State. I mean, nobody's safe nowadays. You'd think usually if you get a 5-star guy that you're paying him all this money and stuff like that, hey, he'd maybe want to stay. But it's whoever can give you the biggest paycheck, and and that's why retention is so key. Why stars don't matter necessarily as much, because I mean, every year you're going to be looking at a completely new team on all fronts.
He's not wrong. I think some people might read into that a little bit, saying, okay, well, he's saying recruiting doesn't matter anymore. No, that's not what he's saying.
Right. Yeah.
It does matter, but it's now different to where you go pre-NIL era. If I'm trying to recruit you, I'm showing you our facilities, taking you to a game, showing you the lifestyle that we have on campus. So you're finding that you want to be in certain situations based on what they can offer on campus and with coaching staff and everything like that. So recruiting from that aspect is still there, but now you throw in the NIL. Well, now I go to him and be like, I've got all this, but I'm going to give you $5 million.
Yeah, I got Lamborghinis on the
You got Lamborghinis, yeah. And then all of a sudden Ohio State comes calling and be like, hey, we'll give you
2 Lamborghinis.
If you come jump ship for us. Yeah. Retention is everything now, a lot more because of that NIL stuff.
I think it's going to cause guys like him and some of these other smaller schools to be like, we don't need to bring in 25 guys a year.
No.
We maybe need to bring in 10, take care of the 10 and make sure that they stay. And then once you stack one recruiting class after another, and then whoever leaves, you fill them with transfers or high school guys and make sure you keep your core there every year. It's very NFL built. And I think that's where he's going.
Well, and it's almost worse off in the NFL, because at least in the NFL you have contracts.
Yeah.
This, I mean, obviously the regulations have changed, but I remember a couple of years ago, I can't think of his name. It was a quarterback. He was about to start for LSU, going into the 2022 season, I believe, and he retired before the season. He got his NIL deal, and then it was announced that he wasn't going to be the starting quarterback, and he retired. And he didn't have to stay on the team. He got his money already. I mean, there was nothing he had to do, and I think that that's kind of what Kenny Dillingham's talking about. You got to be able to retain your keep these guys around for 2 or 3 years, because if not, look at the teams that are winning the national championships. While sure, Ohio State brought in a lot of transfers, that main core is together. Yep. Those guys that had been there, it showed their recruiting class from 2019 or whatever it was. All those guys were there. The Jack Sawyers, the guys like that were there, and they stayed, and look what it got them.
Yeah. So very interesting comments. I'm sure everybody in college football kind of feels the same way. Well, some more news out of Big 12 Media Day. Scott Frost, who got fired from Nebraska, now he's back at UCF, where he kind of elevated him. This is what he had to say about his former job in Nebraska. Said, I really want to keep about UCF. He said that he never wanted to take the Nebraska job in the first place, coming off a 13-0 season in 2017 that sparked debate about whether the Knights should have had a chance to play for the national championship in the 14 playoff. Here's what he had to say. I said, I wouldn't leave unless it was someplace you could win a national championship. Frost told The Athletic, I got tugged in a direction to try and help my alma mater. Didn't really want to do it. It wasn't a good move. I'm lucky to get back to a place where I was a lot happier. And the same reporter asked Frost in a one-on-one interview what he learned from his time in Nebraska. Former Cornhuskers quarterback said, don't take the wrong job.
And it was one of those. I remember watching Scott Frost's last game at UCF, and it was I believe it was the American Conference Championship game against Memphis. They won that game. Yeah. It was like a double overtime game, and it was a great game. And the post game interview, the first question the lady asked him, "Are you taking the Nebraska job?" And that was the most awkward I've ever seen a one-on-one interview after a football game. And I felt bad for the guy because he felt like that was his alma mater. He was a great quarterback there. He felt like it was his obligation to go back and try to bring them back to what they were when he was there under Tom Osborne, but it just never really felt right. It never got off the ground, and I'm glad he's back at UCF and able to sort of have like maybe we see the start of a redemption arc for
having Matt Rule there is really good. He's such a good program builder. And I think Nebraska fans, you can put Tennessee fans in that same, because they were dominant in the 80s and 90s.
And we want to get back.
Want to get back. They just need some patience. But Tennessee's risen above that now, and Nebraska's still
getting there.
Yeah, I think Matt Rule is the guy, though.
Absolutely.
I think he is, because he has proven he has a track record of being able to do that stuff, to actually rebuild. The Scott Frost thing, I do feel for him, because I do understand it's like you want to go back and you want to help what the school that helped build you, basically, and it just never really felt like it was a good fit. I don't know all that was going on behind closed doors. I don't know if there's stuff that he wanted to do and the AD was like, no, don't want to do that or whatnot. It just never seemed like it was really working. And I do like seeing them back at UCF because they had some really fun teams, and I love being able to see some of those Group of 5 teams be really, really good and really competitive, like Boise State last year, UCF several years ago. I'm trying to think of another one that was recent.
I think Northern Illinois had a good team in like 2013 or 2014, something like that.
Houston won. Who was it? Was it Penn State that they beat, or Florida State that they beat in the Peach Bowl? They're now Big 12 teams,
right?
Yeah.
But I love seeing those teams have really good coaches, really good players, and be able to compete against some of the big schools.
Yeah.
And I think he's a great fit down there, and we're going to see if he can do some magic again.
Well, and again, I don't think without Scott Frost that UCF is in the Big 12 right now, because they proved that they could sustain, they were a dominant force in the American from however long they were in there, that now, I believe their third or fourth year entering the Big 12.
Speaking of the Big 10, though, Minnesota coach P.J. Fleck agreed to a one-year contract extension through the 2030 season, and with an increase in retention bonuses. As proved by the university, Fleck's annual $6 million salary remains the same. Retention bonus provision added to his deal in an amendment last year after UCLA pursued him, and will pay Fleck $1 million for staying in Minnesota through the end of 2025. The annual sweetener increases to $1.2 million for 26, 1.3, 27, 1.4. You get the gist. All the way to an additional $2.3 million from previous amounts. Fleck is now tied for 11th in coach compensation in the 18-team Big Ten. The Gophers are 58-39 in his 8 seasons, including 6-0 in bowl games and 34-36 in Big Ten play. So, I guess good move for everybody there. There's not really much to say about it.
Just keep her on the boat.
Stick with your guy.
Listen, Fleck's a great coach. Like you said, 6-0 in bowl games under him. Which means he's got a pretty consistently good team. Nobody thinks of Minnesota as a power or anything like that in football, but they're consistently pretty good. A couple of years ago they had that big win over Penn State. They had, I think it was 2019 that they had such a good year, and Minnesota. They gave Penn State a run for their money this year in a very big Big Ten game. So they're always a contender, and they're a fun team to watch.
They are, especially with the expanded playoff that looks like it's going to 16 teams. We talked about yesterday.
That's a team that could sneak in.
It's a team that can sneak in and watch
out.
Under
the right circumstances.
Under the right circumstances, but watch out. They could do some damage if they make it in there. I don't really know exactly how they will pan out this year. I imagine they will have another good, solid team. But
they're going to be a big team that runs the ball and smash. They're a smash mouth team.
They have a propensity, though, to lose big games in weird ways.
Yes,
they do, though.
It seems like every time Michigan comes there, they got them on the ropes, can't put them away.
Yeah.
I think it was Penn State 2 years ago. They had them right where.
This past season.
That's what it was, where they had them right there and just could not close the deal.
Yep.
It's kind of been the PJ Fleck kind of model.
Yeah.
It is.
He needs to get over that.
And that goes back to that record for the Big Ten, which was, 32 and 36 or something? 36.
Yeah.
You take away some of those games, I don't know how many there are, but you're looking at a much better record at that point.
Well, and also you got to realize Minnesota is stuck in the Big Ten, that where Michigan's going to be pretty good every year, Penn State's going to be pretty good every year, Ohio State's going to be pretty good every year, and now you got Oregon and Washington's got to where they've been a pretty good program. USC, UCLA, they got the money, so it's a tough conference. Illinois is good now. Indiana made the playoff. I mean, it's a weird Big Ten.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, coming up next, guys, we'll go to the NFL. We're going to take a look at the skill position rankings and have our responses to it when we return.
Got a dent, a ding, a scratch, or a bent fender? Major or minor, Car Country Collision Center in Leoma can fix you up. Car Country works with all insurance carriers, gives free estimates, can work on foreign and domestic vehicles, and has experience you can trust. They've been in business since 1990. Unfortunately, accidents happen, but you can get your car back on the road with as little hassle as possible with the help of Car Country. Call 931-852-4708 or stop by at 2567 Highway 43 South in Leoma.
Comprehensive care with a compassionate touch. That will always be the guarantee at Encompass Healthcare in Etheridge, Tennessee. Whether you're looking for primary or urgent care, x-ray services, or weight loss treatments, the team at Encompass is equipped to serve your needs today. The doors are open Monday through Thursday from 8 to 5 and from 8 to noon on Fridays. Make an appointment with providers Kendra Brown, Tori Cox, or Ellie Brown today. That's Encompass Healthcare, located on Highway 43 North in Etheridge, next door to Chapman Tire. There's a reason owners Tyler and Cindy McDowell chose the name In Service for their towing business. They did because it's their goal to be in service for you on the day that you need them the most. In-Service Towing is now known far and wide for their response time because minutes matter when you're broken down. Or their 24/7 availability, you can call them anytime for service. Their professional team with years of experience and their fairness, plus their know-how in dealing with the unexpected. But the thing that In-Service is known best for is how they treat their customers, and that's like family. When you need them, call them 931-843-9098.
The Raptor Series from Hustler Turf. A premium line of residential mowers designed with a wide stance for operator comfort. A one-piece 11-gauge steel frame and welded steel deck for added durability. Finished off with premium Kawasaki V-twin power. We are Hustler Turf, and this is Hustler Country.
State Line Garage Doors, owned and operated by Justin Gobble, is your trusted local expert in garage door services. Based in Lawrence County, Tennessee, State Line Garage Doors is built on over a decade of hands-on experience, providing reliable repairs, replacements, and installations for all types of garage doors, residential and commercial. They proudly serve our community and the surrounding areas. When you work with State Line Garage Doors, you're not just another job, you're part of our community. Their commitment to quality, transparency, and craftsmanship is at the heart of what they do, and they offer free estimates. State Line Garage Doors. Reach out to discover the difference a company with local roots can make for your home and business.
There are now more ways to save at Quick Mart. Become a Quick Club member and easily earn rewards on qualifying purchases at Quick Mart convenience stores using the Quick Club app, available on the Apple App Store and Google Play. To save on fuel for work, use the Fuel Rewards Pro app to earn 5 cents a gallon on work fill-ups and redeem the savings for yourself. To get started, visit fuelrewards.com/pro or download the app in the Apple App Store and Google Play.
Going the distance for local sports. This is X Sports Today.
And welcome back to X Sports Today. AJ Good with Taylor Plott, Michael Marks, and Hayden Burks. And we're going to tick off Hayden here right off the get-go. ESPN has released their top. They have ranked all 32 NFL teams based on skill positions. So that's running backs, receivers, tight ends, fullbacks, basically anyone other than a quarterback in the offensive line. I think they did add quarterbacks.
I would say, I bet they would throw quarterbacks in there.
No, it's just receivers, tight ends, and running backs. So basically anyone but quarterbacks in the offensive line. All right, can you guess who's number 32 on the list?
Start with the T.
2 T's.
2 T's. All right. Yep.
You would be right.
Yeah.
It would be the Tennessee Titans.
That's
Their
right.
2023 rank was 29th. Their 24 rank was actually 19th. But they come in.
Well, they still had Derrick Henry then to kind of skew that one.
They come in at dead last. They said Tony Pollard looked better than he did recovering from a fractured fibula. They have Tajay Spears going along. Cam Ward. We'll have Tyler Lockett, who's 32. Calvin Ridley, Van Jefferson, and rookie fourth-rounder
Iamaner.
Moore, yeah. I remember him from Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
I had him on my college fantasy team this past
He
year.
was pretty good.
Gave me a lot of numbers. So, that's what you have to look forward to.
I mean, I'm not even really a Titans fan. I got off the Titans boat.
Me either.
I got off the Titans boat whenever the A.J. Brown trade happened. And that's when I started seeing the writing on the wall. And then once Vrabel, they got rid. Of course, I kind of understand that firing. I really don't, to be honest. And it's been downhill, and I've just been talking trash. It's an organizational thing. Brian Callahan, I'm not sure how much longer he'll be there, to be honest.
I was surprised, just based off of how bad everything went. I'm surprised. I'm not a big fan of firing guys after 1 year, but if you're going to fire Gerard Mayo, you got to fire Callahan.
The Ron
Carthon or whatever.
Ron Carthon. Former, when he the 49 player development person that he came in was a GM, awful job, probably the worst GM Tennessee's ever had. They're just going to have to figure it out. Hopefully the Cam Ward thing is a right step in the right direction, but then again, I don't think I can ever jump back on that ship. And then again, also they took Will Levinson, in my opinion. Should have took Hendon Hooker, even though he should have been.
Well, you look at organizations.
That's just me being biased towards.
You look at functional organizations and you look at how they were built. Let's go with the Chiefs, for example. They got their GM. Boom, they've come in, they bring in Andy Reid. Who does he bring in with him a couple years later? Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. You got a dynasty. With the 49ers, they bring in their GM, their coach, Brock Purdy. They were been really good. You look at the Titans, and it feels like they're rotating coaches, GMs, and quarterbacks every year. Yeah. Some of these teams that haven't been as good as of late. Chicago has been going through it recently. The Jets, the Giants, they're just rotating coaches and quarterbacks, trying to find something that fits. It doesn't start until you get those three, and that's kind of led to why the Titans' skill positions have looked so bad, because they've spent every year drafting a new quarterback or a new backup left tackle that's never going to see the field. They haven't spent any time drafting these skill position players. Now, I think they did really well in the draft. I think Iamaner is going to end up being a pretty good player. I think it was their 5th or 6th round pick, the Gunnar Helm, the tight end out of Texas. I think he's going to be really good. But I'm glad they got Cam Ward now to kind of, because I'm a huge believer in him. I'm not a big Titans guy, but I do think he's going to do well for them. And you start solidifying those spots, and maybe we'll see them at 31 next year.
Well, you see who they have.
That'll be lucky
with some of these positions, and they're not bad players. Calvin Ridley, you still got Lockett. I know he's getting up there in age. I still feel like he can at least do a solid effort for your team and not be a complete bust. But you look at some of those names, and it's like they're not a bad group of players. But is it who you really need to help rebuild this team because. I mean, I know the Titans. If I remember correctly, they still have not won a Super Bowl. They got there.
They've got yard line. They were a yard. I would say they were about 3 feet away.
But you go back in the history of this team when it's been in Tennessee, they've had a very solid team for a long time, and now it just seems like the train's gone off the tracks. What do you need to do to get back on? Like I said, I think that there's still some good names on that, some good quality players, but. Is it really who you want to have to really start things up? We'll see.
Yeah. At 31, Carolina Panthers. 30, the New England Patriots. Cleveland comes in at 29. They were ranked 12th and 23 and 20th last year, so now they're at 29. Buffalo coming in at 28.
I don't get that one.
Yeah.
There was a lot of some movement going on. It is going to be interesting to see.
They didn't get
what
any
the Bills
receivers, which led to their GM blowing up on some Buffalo radio personalities. But, they went from 20th and 23 to 24th and 24 and now 28th here in 25. Yeah. The Jets, 27th. 26 the Giants, 25 the Bears, 24 the Saints, 23 the Broncos, 22 the Chargers. Steelers coming in at 21.
That feels really high.
Yeah. I know they added a lot, but actually they got Michael Pittman Jr., Amari Cooper, and now DK Metcalf.
Okay, I would say maybe that's not.
That's probably why Buffalo.
I would say that might actually be a good spot for them. I forgot about Amari Cooper.
Raiders.
We're trying to word.
Seahawks at 19. Man, they were ranked 4th and 23 and 8th and 24, and they've dropped all the way to 9. But a lot of that has to do with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf.
They did get Cooper Kupp, so that kind of helped them out a little bit.
The thing that has always shocked me with the Seahawks is they have all these really good skill players almost on a year-in and year-out basis, and they just cannot do what they probably should be able to do with them.
Especially in that
I just think of like the biggest what-if guy, Jermaine Kearse. He was on those teams with the Pete Carroll era, and he was always that wide receiver 2 behind Doug Baldwin. Yep. And, man, he was good, but he just was never a wide receiver 1 for anybody, so never got that time to shine.
Jaguars coming in at 18. 17 the Packers. 16 the Colts. 15 the Cardinals, which they
made some moves.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison, and didn't they sign Austin Eckler or trade for him or something like that? Or am I thinking
they got Brock Bowers, Marvin Harrison.
They got Brock
Arizona
Bowers.
Yeah.
Trey McBride.
Was it a trade? Had to be.
James Conn. I'm trying to
remember who drafted Bowers.
The Raiders.
That's right. Yeah.
But they were 30th and 23, 21st and 24, and now bumped up to 15, so they're climbing. Texans come in at 14th after being this is wild rankings. They were dead last in 23, 4th last year, and now they're 14th this year. With Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs had season-ending injuries last year, but they have Nico Collins there, Christian Kirk, Jaden Higgins. And
that's a good receiving core, and even Joe Mixon out of the backfield's a good receiver.
Commanders going from 26 to 13 this coming year. They've really built up things. Chiefs risen a little bit, 14th a year ago, 12th this year.
Gosh, I just don't think their offense was number 12 good in the NFL last year.
Dallas has gone from 18 to now 11th, adding George Pickens, which I don't think that's a upgrade.
That's the ESPN bias on the Cowboys right there.
100%. Dolphins coming in at 10 after being ranked 3rd a year ago. Falcons coming in at 9 after being ranked 10th the last 2 years. Number 8, Baltimore rising up after being 15th in both 23 and 24, now 8th. And so they've added to their they are already pretty stacked to begin with, but they added a little bit. There's that, right? DeAndre Hopkins has signed a 1-year deal there. Tampa rising up to 7th after being 18th and 13th the 2 previous years, and they've added a lot here. Is Mega Ibuka. That's a pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Minnesota coming in at 6. They're just with Jordan Addison,
Justin Jefferson.
Yep. I'm going to say Jamar Chase. I'm just thinking of LSU wide receivers and just ringing them off the top of my head. Rams in the top 5 coming in at 5th. San Francisco at 4th after being ranked 1st in 23 and 24. The Bengals at 3. The Lions at 2 after being ranked 16th and 7th. And at number 1 is the Philadelphia Eagles, who lost nobody from a year ago and bringing all of that back, and
they're running it.
Yeah.
And you look at
gonna
all,
be my favorite.
And you look at all those teams in the top 10, and what do they have? A franchise quarterback.
Yep.
Right. You're right.
Whether they're the best quarterback in the NFL or not, because you look at 1 and 2, and I don't think anybody looks at Jalen Hurts or Jared Goff as the best quarterback in the NFL, but they win.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
I think the Bengals are, if they can keep Joe Burrow healthy, guys. I think
That's
the
the big
Bengals
thing.
are going to be.
If they can, if they can start off like they ended last season, they're going to be dangerous.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the NFL is, college football, that works. You get that momentum and it carries over the next year. The NFL, with so much roster turnover every year, you don't always get that. But you're hoping for their sake, since they didn't really lose anybody. You still got Chase and you still got Burrow. You upgraded a little bit defensively, and you certainly upgraded a lot offensively. Man, use that momentum and just blitz everybody in the NFL.
Well, and I think one of it's going to go as an underrated hire was the Bengals getting Al Golden from Notre Dame to lead their defense. I mean, we saw Notre Dame's defense last year was stifling. Yeah. I mean, they were shutting everybody down pretty much until they ran into Ohio State. And exactly, because we're talking about teams getting hot. Yep. But if he can bring that kind of defensive, not necessarily as quality, because defense in college, defense in the NFL are two completely different things. But if he can just bring that kind of mentality that Notre Dame swarming defense had, Cincinnati is a couple pieces away from being back in the Super Bowl. I really do believe that defensively.
Detroit's right there. Eagles are right. I mean, all this. Everyone would love to have the cast that you have in the top 5 teams, really the top 10 teams, and then there's
and you're looking it's a bunch of younger coaches. None of those older coaches are because you look number 1 was the Eagles, Nick Sirianni, kind of a newer day coach. Same thing with really most of these teams.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll go through more of these, and I can't wait to get the college football magazines, because that's when we're really going to have some fun discussions when I start to see some of those things come out. Well, coming up next, guys, we'll take a look at everything going down in the world of sports tonight, including see if the Braves can at least beat a Notre Dame team. We'll just see if that can happen. So that's coming up next.
Financial advisor Scott Beasley knows time spent with family is everything. As a founder of Beasley Wealth Management, his mission is to give clients the freedom to enjoy time with family without the burden of financial concerns. A local of Lawrenceburg, Scott deeply values building relationships with clients, ensuring they make informed decisions concerning asset management, tax planning, and retirement planning. Offering a free initial consultation, Beasley Wealth Management helps clients pursue their aspirations with confidence.
Top quality equipment rentals at the right price. It's not too good to be true at Rent Right Equipment and Sales. We guarantee clean, reliable products that are up to your standards. Our family-owned business has been doing that for more than 40 years. Let our friendly and knowledgeable staff take care of you from purchase to maintenance. Saws, drills, lifts, mowers, generators, you name it, we've got it. Stop by and see our inventory today, located on Buffalo Road in Lawrenceburg.
Going the distance for local sports. This is X Sports Today.
Welcome back to X Sports Today. Final segment here of the show. AJ Good with Taylor Plott, Michael Marks, Hayden Burks, and got some baseball going on right now. A pair of games in action. No score between the Dodgers and the Brewers. Runners on the corners, 2 outs for the Dodgers right now. Blue Jays, who have won 10 in a row, up 1-0, bottom of the fourth. It's the White Sox right now, and already we have 2 WNBA games already in the books. The Connecticut Sun, who have won just 2 games coming into this, just upset Seattle, beat them 93-83, and then Caitlin Clark-led team lost 80-61 to the Golden State Valkyries. Heck of a name right there. 2 more games going on, and all 30 Major League Baseball teams in action, including the Atlanta Braves.
Well, we can say that they're in action, but the question is, are they actually going to provide action? I don't think that they are. Go back last night.
Well, it's really funny. I'm sitting here thinking. I remember yesterday when we were like, the Braves play tonight, and I said, "Has anybody told them yet?" And I don't think anybody did.
They didn't. No, they sure didn't. No.
With it being a late game, I really didn't think much about it, like wanting to watch it, because at some point, it's going to be like 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, I just really want to go to bed. So I didn't even end up watching it. And then a buddy of mine starts messaging in one of our chats and was like, "Hey, are you watching this game?" I'm like, "No." And he tells me what's going on. And I tell you one thing, they will make me want to drink even without watching them. It's good Lord.
Well, the thing is they lost 10-1, and you're like, oh, wow, all 10 of those runs for the Athletics came in the first 3 innings of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, Dylan Fuentes went an inning and gave up 8 runs.
Here's my thing with
3 homers.
Because the buddy of mine brought this up, that his son he's a huge Braves fan, was just hounding the Braves on having Fuentes up. And I agree. I don't think that he has the stuff right now to be a major league pitcher. But at the same time, they've had so many injuries to that pitching staff, you're almost forced to bring somebody up who's not ready, and that it just happens to be him. He has a great fastball. He has a really good set of pitching skills. The problem is he's just not ready yet. Yeah. He will be, but I mean, if this isn't a wake-up call to the front office to say you need to put him back in AAA and just find somebody else to come up and take his spot, I don't know what is. I feel for the kid because coming up, first major league start was okay, didn't end well though. Yeah. Second major league start was bad, and now this one's even worse. That hurts your mentality as a pitcher and as a young kid. I mean, he's only like 18 years old, 19 years old, something like that. I feel for him.
It's a bad spot to put him in.
It's a bad spot to put him in, and I'm afraid that if they don't bump him back down, it's going to be even worse for him, because that's a rude awakening for anybody.
Well, another thing that I was talking about yesterday was with the White Sox, talking about how many of their prospects have kind of just flared out because they get called up too early, they don't play good, their mentality goes straight in the dumpster, and then they get sent back down to AAA and you never hear of them again.
There are, I can't name names, but I know I've seen it kind of happen throughout baseball, is you have something like that. I'm not saying this is going to happen to Fuentes, but I have seen it happen to people where you have a really good pitching prospect, you see what they're doing, and they get called up too early and they get completely roughed up. Yeah. And they're not the same person and player again. And it's a touchy situation. Yeah.
Because then you go to start trying to pitch defensively, and that doesn't work in the big leagues.
And then all of a sudden you have a potential really good career player right there, might not even get off to the right footing, and might end up just ruining it. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't look good for Atlanta tonight. Bryce Elder on the mound, 2-6, 5.92 ERA, 16 home runs given up with a 1.52 whip. So
I'm just gonna let Dusty have my segment for the show and tonight. So let him go off on them because I want to hear what he guys say.
The same thing, like I said yesterday, applies. I don't think the Braves make the playoffs. I'll eat my words gladly if for some reason that happens. But the one thing I just want is at least become somewhat competitive going into the All-Star break and after the All-Star break, and try to carry some momentum into next season. Obviously I didn't watch it, but what I saw stat-wise last night made me sick of my stomach.
Yeah,
100%.
Not good. Well, guys, that will do it for X Sports today. We'll be back once again tomorrow on Thursday at 1:30 sharp. So for AJ Good, I'm AJ Good. For Taylor Plott, Michael Marks, Hayden Burks, I'm AJ Good. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Going the distance for local sports. This is X Sports Today.